A violent weekend in Baltimore ahead of the new year. The latest incidents including a police-involved shooting as the city prepares to record less than 300 homicides this year. The mother of one of the victims in the Brooklyn Day mass shooting says enough is not enough when it comes to juvenile crime. Her message to lawmakers just ahead.
And I'm Wyatt Everhart. Skies clearing across Maryland, setting us up for a sunnier Sunday around here. We'll talk about the first days of the new year. What kind of weather you'll see it straight ahead.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Good Sunday morning to you. A quiet start on this New Year's Eve. Thanks for joining us here on December 31st. We all made it. We're leaving 2023 behind and pressing forward to 2024. I'm Taylor Stewart. Let's talk about your forecast as we look into this new year. Meteorologist Wyatt Everhart. Good morning to you, Wyatt.
Hey, good morning, Taylor. Yeah, I mean, a little bit of cloud cover out there this morning, but I think as we progress through the day, we're going to see the sun breaking through, and that's going to make for a pretty bright Sunday around here for much of the day, at least. Overall, big picture, you can see a lot of the cloud cover is now offshore. Yesterday was kind of a mostly overcast scenario, kept temperatures down a little bit. This morning, we're already at 45 in the city, and most of the outer suburbs around 40 degrees. So as we go through the day, we're able to warm up pretty significantly. We should be able to get close to 50 late this afternoon. Much of the day, though, obviously will be in the 40s, even if we touch that 50-degree mark. So here we go. Bit of a chill in the air, but overall, not a bad last day. Can you believe that? Last day to 2023. The Ravens kickoff forecast looks very nice as well. We'll talk more about that as well as the next round of cold air for the new year. It's coming up.
We begin this morning with a city in crisis and out of southwest Baltimore. An officer-involved shooting sends one man to the hospital. This happened around 9 yesterday morning on West Pratt Street. According to Commissioner Richard Worley, officers in the area saw a naked man walking the street. As they approached, he ran off, barricading himself inside the back room of a nearby business. Police say officers attempted to get inside when the man threw an unknown liquid at them. Officers tried again to gain entry. This time, police say the man charged at them, holding 2 knives. One officer was cut in the face. Commissioner Worley says that's when officers opened fire.
Officers immediately rendered aid to the individual. While he was still being taken into custody, he was still reaching for a weapon. But officers were able to render aid to him, put a tourniquet on his leg, probably saved his life. This was a very intense situation. Once you see the body-worn camera, you'll see how intense and you'll see how great of a job our officers did yet again.
Police say that 36-year-old suspect is still at the hospital. He is expected to be okay. Now, this police-involved shooting comes during a violent 24 hours for our city. On Friday, around 9, a 17-year-old was killed in a shooting near Reisterstown Road. A 20-year-old was also shot. His injuries were non-life-threatening. Around the same time, though, Friday night, a 39-year-old man was shot in southeast Baltimore. This happened near Grundy Street. Police say that man was shot in the leg. He is expected to be okay. Then over at Mondawmin Mall, a gunfight ended with the UPS delivery driver being shot. Police say 2 groups of juveniles were fighting in the parking lot. When they started shooting at each other, a stray bullet hit that 50-year-old delivery driver right in the ankle. No one else was hurt. As of this morning, 260 people have been killed in the city in 2023. 631 have survived shootings. Both of those numbers are actually down from last year, and for the first time in 9 years, Baltimore is on pace to see fewer than 300 homicides. During a prayer walk for the more than 250 victims killed this year, BPD Commissioner Richard Worley said the current gun homicide numbers are still nothing to celebrate.
It's a nice accomplishment, but it's still, today it's 258 homicide victims, which is way too many for our city. We still had too many robberies, too many people getting shot. The biggest key I want to accomplish is get a lot of these guns off the street. The proliferation of guns in our city is crazy.
Well, one of those victims is 18-year-old Alea Gonzalez. She was one of 2 people killed during the Brooklyn Day mass shooting. Her mother, Crystal Gonzalez, is voicing frustration as her family still waits to learn who killed Aaliyah.
They can't interrogate these children due to the current juvenile crime laws, right? So where does that leave the family, the victims, the survivors of this? We are in limbo until y'all figure it out. Now, where's the swift justice there? I would like to move on. I would like to do something else.
Vincent Hill sat down with Crystal as she talks about that dreadful night and her message to lawmakers.
So let's talk about July 2nd, 2023. Let's go back to that day. Did you get a chance to see Aaliyah that day?
Absolutely.
So what did you two talk about?
So funny, because I wanted to make one of her favorites is Spanish stewed chicken and yellow rice and beans, right? So I made that night, and I remember telling her, because as she was getting prepared to go out, I texted her. I said, hey, if you're still around, your food is here. So I know that she ate her favorite meal, which would be her last meal, that it was something that she knows her mom made for her.
How did you actually find out what happened to Aaliyah?
So I woke up to my husband screaming.
But when you heard the word shot, you weren't thinking the worst, were you? What were you thinking?
If she was shot, she'll be okay. I'm not stopping for any tape, any police officer, anything. And I run right up to where they told me she would be at. And I see this sheet. And that's when I knew that was her, because I could see her foot. She wore Crocs that day, I know.
A 15-year-old, 17-year-old, and two 18-year-olds were arrested, albeit none charged with your daughter's murder, but a slew of charges. If you were to describe the juvenile system in Maryland in one word, what would it be?
Preventable. What this is a mismanagement of resources. It's been proven. Two of the offenders at Brooklyn Day had ankle monitors on, right? And yet, we are allowing the perpetrators of these young juveniles that we want to point the finger at, we're allowing them to be arrested and released.
Do you think we need to just start from ground zero with juvenile laws?
Absolutely. We are not understanding that the laws are dictating what the culture looks like. Our laws set the precedent for what we see now. So again, it's mismanagement of resources. And you're allowing these kids to repeat offenses by laws that you put in place. They know right from wrong. So I can hear you tell me that no one, well, a child under the age of 25 shouldn't be in an adult system. Well, here we know we have a lot of adult things that we do between the ages of our teen years and 25. So you're able to start families and get married, right? You're able to do these things. Why are people not asking these questions? But when you have a violent offender commit a violent act, all of a sudden he don't know better.
We're about 2 weeks away from the new legislative session in Annapolis. Of course, juvenile crime is going to be one of the main topics, if not the main topic.
Yeah.
What do you want to see from lawmakers at the state level?
It blows my mind that we have such a huge gun violence problem, and it is not written into law that we have some form of education in the school as far as gun violence prevention.
If you could go back to July 2nd, before 9 o'clock, what would you change?
Nothing. I know that's not what people want to hear, but I'm very careful about creating fantasy. Because what we're doing now is talk about what we could have done. That's not our reality. But we must deal with what happened.
That was Vince Hill reporting there. We also spoke with Aaliyah's older brother about his frustrations with juvenile crime laws. Take a listen.
Even if Tristan Jackson wasn't the person that, inevitably murdered Aaliyah, to me, everyone that shot a gun that night, they aided the death of my sister, you know what I'm saying? So I want them all to be held accountable.
He mentioned Tristan Jackson. He's the 18-year-old arrested in connection who could be transferred to a juvenile court. This is based on a ruling from a judge named Charles Bloomquist. It is important to note Jackson has not been charged in Aaliyah's murder. For more on Vincent Hill's interview with Aaliyah's mother, head to our website, foxbaltimore.com, and look for this story. We're less than 24 hours away from the new year. Still ahead, the preparations underway this morning at the Inner Harbor.
Weather-wise this morning, we've got temperatures running in the upper 30s to low 40s, on our way to maybe close to 50 this afternoon. We'll talk about some crisp days ahead and when our next weather maker may arrive into Maryland. It's coming up.
The countdown of 2024 is on, and preparations are underway at the Inner Harbor for tonight's New Year's Eve celebration. The city's going out with a bang this year with everything from a drone show, fireworks, and live music. Officials tell Fox 45 News it is going to be an incredible night. To make sure everyone stays safe during tonight's festivities, Baltimore police say there will be increased security measures. In a statement to us, police say, quote, the department has proactive deployments to cover the city, including increased foot patrol. Statement goes on to say the deployments will be based on a variety of things, including threat assessments and crowd estimates. Welcome the 2024 year in style. Still ahead, a workout that will power you through midnight and beyond. And don't let the New Year celebrations throw off your sleep schedule. Still ahead this morning, simple things you can do that will keep your family happy, rested, and ready to welcome in the new year. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. Another candidate for Baltimore City mayor is calling for the CEO of Baltimore City Schools to be replaced. Donald Scoggins is the lone Republican in the race, and he recently sat down with Project Baltimore's Chris Papst to discuss his plans to improve public education if he's elected mayor.
Donald Scoggins has accomplished a lot in his life. Vietnam War veteran, real estate broker, urban planner. But now he's trying to accomplish something in Baltimore that hasn't happened in 60 years. To be elected mayor as a Republican.
And I do think that a Republican can win in Baltimore if I can encourage the people to see that I'm passionate about this, and I think I can make a change. I mean, I can't do any worse than what's been done in the past, I tell you that.
The last time a Republican was elected mayor in Baltimore was 1963. Scoggins was 18, studying architecture at Hampton University in Virginia, where he learned the value of a quality education, something he says too many students in Baltimore City are simply not receiving.
All I see is a whole bunch of money being wasted. The taxpayers are not getting their money's worth. Not only are the taxpayers not getting it, the young people are not getting their money's worth.
We need to do what's good for these students.
As candidate for mayor, Scoggins' platform includes improving public education.
And as we know,
he says it starts with expanding access to charter schools.
I'm in favor of competition because I think that our school system has gotten too big and too bloated, and it's falling on the weight of its own regulations.
Baltimore City has 31 public charter schools, by far the most of any school system in Maryland. Over the past 5 years, that number has remained relatively consistent. But Scoggins wants more charter schools. He also supports changing the curriculum to engage more students while getting local colleges and universities more involved in city schools. But he says most importantly as mayor, he would strengthen schools by strengthening homes.
You cannot improve the public school system without addressing the family. I'm going to be very frank when I say this, but the black community is in very perilous condition.
This 78-year-old married father of two and soon-to-be grandfather wants to see Baltimore prioritize the creation of programs that help families stay together, not break them apart, which he says happened in the past.
Since the 60s, we've incentivized the breakup of the family, so we need to incentivize the uniting of the families. We need to do that. We need to incentivize in some way. And I don't see how we're going to get out of this if we do not address the family.
Scoggins is one of 10 candidates running for mayor and the only Republican. So far, current Mayor Brandon Scott is the only candidate who has publicly supported Baltimore City Schools CEO Dr. Sonia Santelises.
There needs to be some changes in leadership.
Other candidates, such as former Mayor Sheila Dixon, Yolanda Pooley, and Wendy Bozell, have already said they support replacing Dr. Santelises. Scoggins is now the latest candidate to join that group.
What is your position on Dr. Santelises?
I feel the same way the others do. I think she needs to find another source of employment because I don't see where she's that much of an advocate of the schools, of the children.
I'm Chris Papst, and this is Project Baltimore.
All right, let's go ahead and get another look at your forecast. Meteorologist Wyatt Everhart, what are we seeing today in this final day, which is crazy to say, of 2023?
Where did the year go, right? I mean,
where did it go?
Look, I mean, we're going to finish on a dry note, right? A little sunshine. I think even a chance to touch 50 degrees today on the last day of the year. So that's not a bad deal, really. Not a bad way to finish out. And good news, we stay clear tonight in terms of any precipitation for all the festivities. So everyone out and about, a lot of people dressed up to the nines. You're looking good weather-wise tonight. Just need that jacket or some type of overcoat. 42 right now at BWI. Wind is calm and widespread numbers in the low 40s to upper 30s across the metropolitan area. I think that's going to kind of continue to be the case as we go into the next several hours this morning. Ultimately, though, a little milder by afternoon, just a light west breeze for you. So kind of a quiet finish here to the new year. mix of sun and clouds, and through the 40s we'll go. Average high, by the way, on New Year's Eve is 44 degrees. So we're definitely set to go above that. We're basically close to 44 right now. Game day weather. Pretty good stuff here. Upper 40s to near 50 at halftime. A crisp day at M&T Bank Stadium, and hopefully the Miami Dolphins will not like the 40s there, because that's going to be a lot chillier than South Florida typically is, that's for sure. Overall, looking ahead, we've got some crisp days on tap, but nothing particularly frigid by time of year standards. Dry start to 2024. I think our next chance of a significant weather maker probably into next weekend, so we'll be keeping an eye on that. Right now, just kind of chilly and dry here across the mid-Atlantic states. You got to go way up into like eastern Canada to find any significant precipitation, or back west to Chicago out toward Minneapolis, some light snow coming down in that direction. But overall, again, just a quiet looking weather map here as we finish out the year. I will say this, that low pressure area over the Great Lakes, as we go through the course of the day and into the day tomorrow, it's going to spin some more clouds our way. Maybe a stray shower. I really don't think much. I think for the most part, the first day of the new year is going to be dry, but it will be cloudier as we go into your Monday. And then that clears out and sets the stage for a sunnier Tuesday around here. But overall, I think the first couple days of the new year are going to be pretty quiet. Colder air is steadily working its way out of Canada further south, and it's going to make its presence felt as we go late week. You can see we're down into the mid-40s there toward the end of the week and into those first couple of days of the new year. Next chance for a weather maker, really, I think, coming toward next weekend.
Well, for the first time in nearly a decade, Baltimore could record less than 300 homicides for the year. The next steps that one local faith leader says the city needs to take. And the debate surrounding Mayor Brandon Scott's baby registry continues. Why some are raising ethical concerns. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. Celebrate the new year with the entire family without sacrificing your sleep and your sanity. Emma Offarth is the assistant director of the Child Care Center at Towson University, and she joins us with what we need to know to make sure our kids have a great New Year's Eve as well. Good morning.
Good morning.
The big question is, can the little ones stay up till midnight?
I would not. As we all know, the sleep schedule is the most important thing, and especially with the end of the holidays and return to school right around the corner, it's important to make sure that whatever sleep we lost, we start regaining, even on New Year's Eve.
Exactly. I mean, but they're also excited, right? What can parents do to allow them to take part in the celebration?
So there's a lot of things you can do. You can celebrate just the way you would, just push it up a few hours. The great thing about kids is they don't know what time it is. So you can make it midnight whenever you want. We usually do midnight around 8 p.m. at our house. There's so many free countdowns. Disney Plus has some with favorite characters, as well as YouTube has streamings of New Year's Eve celebrations around the world.
So cheat the countdown, and there are some tips to do so. Disney has a platform to do so. Is there any other way that kids can also feel like they're bringing in the new year without actually bringing in the new year after midnight?
We do sparkling cider. We make it fun. We get little sparklers and we run around outside. All the things that grown-ups would do. A big favorite in our family is to have like a special dinner, whether that's fondue, or my daughter's current favorite is she likes to do like snacks for dinner. She's very into cheese and crackers or mozzarella sticks. Something just out of the ordinary, making it feel a little special while still maintaining your schedule.
All right, sounds good. So don't do the midnight. Just make it a little bit earlier. Cheat the time code just a little bit, and enjoy it with the entire family.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Emma Offarth, with the Towson Child Care Center. Thank you.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
7:30 here, taking a live look over M&T Bank Stadium as the Ravens will host and hopefully send home the Miami Dolphins later this afternoon. The showdown is between the AFC's top teams. Thanks for being with us this Sunday. It's December 31st. It's New Year's Eve. Happy New Year's. Thanks for ending your year with us. I'm Taylor Stewart. Let's talk about your forecast, though. Meteorologist Wyatt Everhart, you can bet those tailgaters are going to be out there any moment now. What are they expecting?
I'm sure they already are. We're talking about, hot beverages. The temperature's around 40 out there this morning, but later today we could get close to 50. Still chilly by Miami standards, right? So hopefully that'll be a negative for the Dolphins. You can see clear conditions here for the most part across the mid-Atlantic. A few low clouds, but nothing crazy. And that sun's going to be able to break through these. You can kind of already see it this morning. Just a beautiful, beautiful shot. Check that out, Taylor. Nice shot there over the Inner Harbor. Temperatures now 45 in the city, 41 in Aberdeen, and a little colder here as you go further away from Baltimore in Easton and in Westminster. Highs today, we should get right around 50 to finish out the day. Most of the day, though, we will spend in the 40s, including the game. So have that extra layer on as you go out for the game today. Go Ravens. Back to you.
Starting off this morning in a city in crisis, for the first time in nearly a decade, Baltimore is slated to record fewer than 300 homicides this calendar year. As of this morning, 260 people have been killed in the city. 631 people have survived a shooting. While many are championing the milestone, others say it's nothing to celebrate. We're taking a closer look at how we got here and what one faith leader says are the next steps for the city of Baltimore. A break in a deadly 9-year streak.
It's the beginning. There's so much more to do.
Baltimore City is slated to see fewer than 300 homicides in a single year for the first time since 2014. An accomplishment Commissioner Worley says is not cause for celebration.
We still had too many robberies, we still have too many homicides and too many people getting shot.
But to faith leader Bishop Angel Nunez, the drop does signal momentum.
Well, the mayor has done his due diligence and has tried, but I also see that Bates has done a phenomenal job. We cannot ignore that. Now, once he came into office, he decided and set the record straight, and criminals pay attention to that.
Baltimore City State Attorney Ivan Bates and U.S. Attorney for the District of Maryland, Eric Barron, launching a partnership with a more hardline approach to perpetrators of violent crime. And the proof is in the numbers.
I think it's just the partnerships of all the agencies.
At the end of last year, the city recorded 320 homicides. Worley attributes this year's more than 20% reduction in part to enhanced partnerships with local, state, and federal agencies. But
numbers don't say everything. Our youth are involved in so much violence.
Nunez says it's time to take community partnership a step further.
Partnership also consists of including the faith-based community. We're out there too every single day, talking to people and getting kids to turn over their guns and turn their hearts to God.
In a year when teen-on-teen crime spiked, with kids as young as 12 charged with gun possession, Baltimore City Police are staring down the barrel of their next challenge: getting guns out of young hands.
The biggest key I want to accomplish is get a lot of these guns off the street. The proliferation of guns in our city is crazy.
Meantime, prosecutors, police, and parents have been raising concern over some of the current juvenile justice laws. Two laws at the center of the debate are the Juvenile Justice Reform Act and the Child Interrogation Protection Act. The first limits children under 13 from being charged with violent crime. The second stops law enforcement from speaking to any child until they've talked with an attorney. FOX45 News has heard from more than a dozen top prosecutors across Maryland who say the laws leave their hands tied and allow young people to act without fear of consequences.
What we're realizing when we talk to young people is that young people, the juveniles, know there's nothing that we can do.
We can't charge them. I mean, essentially, if they are found to have committed the crime, the police just have to drive them home. I mean, that's really all we can do.
We can only hope that they'll not listen to just folks like me or my 23 colleagues across the state who are the chief prosecutors in their counties, but hopefully they'll listen to their citizens, because their citizens are saying the exact same thing. Enough's enough.
Police sharing another perspective on the laws with Fox 45 News, saying they impact their ability to do their everyday jobs.
Kids get out of the car, and the minute you stop them and you pull them aside, the first thing they say to you is, "Are you going to call my mother?" Because they know they're not. They know they're underage, and they know they can't get in trouble.
It would be like legislature raising the speed limit to 100 miles per hour on interstate highways and then questioning why we're not writing more speeding tickets on the interstate.
Parents have also demanded change at the state level. Some tell Fox 45 News young people think they can get away with just about anything.
But if we're just going to look at them and say, well, they're too young to know the wrong that they've done, that is not for Baltimore. That is not for Maryland, because kids in this city, in this states, are still committing crime.
When they're teenagers, they know what they're doing. They know right from wrong. They need to start locking these kids up. They need to change the laws.
Ahead of the next session, if you have juvenile crime concerns you fear have not been heard this last year, go ahead and reach out to your lawmakers. We've got House Speaker Adrian Jones and Senate President Bill Ferguson, the most powerful lawmakers in Annapolis. Their phone numbers, email addresses listed right there on your screen. Power through the final moments of 2023. Still ahead, the workout that'll keep your energy soaring well past midnight.
And I'm White Everett. We've got temperatures between around 38 and 45 degrees this morning, on our way to about 50. But there is more cold air in the forecast for the new year. We've got that coming up.
Finish up 2023 on a high note with a solid workout to bring your energy into the midnight hour and then beyond.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
we got to make it to midnight first, but then we got to get beyond that.
Yeah.
Teddy Savage is the national lead trainer at Planet Fitness. He is joining us. This is it. This is how we're closing out 2023.
Absolutely. And we're going to close it out on some fun fitness that you can do with a functional accessory found at any Planet Fitness location, and it's the kettlebell, right?
Kettlebell.
And I couldn't just bring one for myself, so Patrice also has a kettlebell because I provide for my friends. All right. So what we're going to do first is a squat into a single arm press, working lower and upper body. So let's put it in our right hand first. What we're going to do is lower ourselves down into our fullest range of motion in the squat and then press up above our heads. Switch to the opposite arm, Patrice.
Got it.
This is one of my favorite exercises because we're working our lower body muscles and our upper body muscles at the same time. That's called a compound movement for 2023.
We got that.
Everything we did was all about being dynamic. At the end of the year, we want to close it out with a bang. So this next one is a lateral lunge into a press. So let's stand with our feet about hip width apart, our kettlebell
at chest height. We'll step out to the right.
Okay.
And then we'll press that kettlebell out, arm's length. That's right. Opposite side press.
All right.
This one is working abductors or outer hip, adductors or inner thigh, and again, shoulders and chest because we're pressing.
All right. Yours look good. Mine didn't look so good. It's hard to do that one in heels.
You know what?
Off balance.
The fact that you're committed to doing it, even with the heels, means everything to me.
Right,
this next one is a sumo squat into a torso twist. So sumo squat, you get a nice wide base. So widen that base out. We want to trace the midline of our body. So we're going to sink down, tracing that midline. Come up. Grab it here now at your chest height, and now let's twist and rotate to the right. Good. Bring it back to center.
Good.
You like that one, right?
Yeah, that's a good stretch.
You know, when it relaxes and releases the lower spine, so your lower lumbar is activated through that twist. Up. Last time, twist to the right. Ooh, that's what. Do you feel good on that one?
I do. I like it.
Yes.
I like it.
So just like 2023 is closing, we're about to wrap this bad boy up with some press jacks. This one is really good to get the heart rate up. Your heart health should be #1 priority. Let's hold that kettlebell right here. Now, Patrice is going to press up and step out with her right foot as she presses, and then she's going to do the same thing with the opposite side. So she keeps that rhythm, and I'm going to press and jack those feet out and in, and we're trying to move together. But you know what this is doing is it's increasing blood flow from our heart to our body. It's raising our BPMs or beats per minute, and it's releasing endorphins in 2023. They just make you feel good. That just makes you feel great, right?
That's a great end to 2023.
That's right. And do it with a workout partner. Patrice is the best one. She's smiling. She got a whole outfit going in heels.
I'm not smiling like this when my husband and I are working out.
He's like, come on, let's go. Right. But hey, look, 2023 is all about being fit, having fun, finishing strong into 2024.
Into 2024. All right. But we had to get to this point first. So before the clock hits midnight, get some workouts in. Tim,
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Patrice. Happy New Year, everybody.
All right, we're here working out. Preparations are underway in here and outside as the year gets up, as we gear up for an epic showdown for 2024. Still ahead, what time you should start heading down to the Inner Harbor for today's festivities? Look, in less than 24 hours, it'll officially be 2024. Fox 45 news cameras headed down to the Inner Harbor to see how officials are getting ready for the big night. Right now, you're looking at crews setting up the iconic fireworks display. This year's fireworks are unlike any other. Listen to this. While fireworks light up the sky when the clock hits midnight, a special drone show will be happening simultaneously. Today's festivities begin at 8 p.m. If you are heading to the Inner Harbor tonight or throwing a special celebration of your own or going to the game, we want to see it. Scan the QR code. It's on your screen there. It'll take you to fox45.com. You can upload your pictures or your videos. It is all powered by Stackla. All right, let's get over to meteorologist Wyatt Everhart. We are pretty much shaping our plans around what's going on outside. You got any plans today?
We'll be out and about. Get a little drive down to the beaches today. But I will say this: this is a one of those days where it won't be the warmest, but it won't be the coldest either for the last day of the new year, and some sunshine mixing in. Not a bad finish to 2023. You can see radar all clear travelers on this New Year's Eve day wherever your travels take you. Baltimore up to New York City. Well, a lot of people go there tonight, and down toward Raleigh, Durham, all clear. Nothing on radar locally, at least. Look at that beautiful sky this morning. Kind of a nice mix of high, thin clouds and blue sky, some sun breaking through. That's what we're going to see through the course of the day, I think. 42 right now, BWI. We're not going to see a big warm up today, but even getting up to 50 degrees, that's above average by about 5 or 6 degrees. So, again, not a bad end to 2023. Some colder spots out in the northern suburbs like Towson and Cockeysville at 38, Owings Mills 37, and Essex on the east side a little milder at 42. Light westerly breeze today. Wind will not be much of a factor. Through the day, climbing through the 40s and eventually topping out around 50 late this afternoon. Again, a mix of sun and clouds on tap. Football forecast for the Ravens. This is going to be, I think, kind of a great looking day for football fans out there at the stadium. We're talking, upper 40s most of the game. Hopefully still a little too cold for the Miami Dolphins to be at their best. But overall, I think it's going to be a great day weather-wise for that huge game at M&T Bank Stadium this afternoon. Crisp days ahead to start off 2024. Staying dry, though. Maybe getting unsettled toward next weekend, but for now, the weather map is awfully quiet. You can see, a chill in the air across the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic, but nothing over the top. The colder air is out to the west here toward Minneapolis and the upper Midwest. And there is a little bit of snow in that direction. We've got a weak low pressure area over the Great Lakes. That will spin around some cloud cover, maybe even a few flurries out into western Maryland tonight and into the day tomorrow. So our first day of the new year, I do think, will be somewhat cloudy thanks to that disturbance. But it also looks to be mostly dry, just cloudier for the first day of the new year. Then that goes offshore and we're brightening the skies right up again for Tuesday into the middle part of the week. By the way, that milder air we've had for several days, especially at the end of last week, being replaced slowly but steadily as colder air slowly edges its way down out of Canada, which makes sense to start December, right? So looking ahead here, you can see we're going to hover in the upper 40s to near 50, then drop off late week down into the mid 40s for high temperatures. So a little bit colder there. And our next significant system, we could see a few showers Thursday, but our next significant system likely to come in toward next weekend. In the meantime, enjoy some sunshine to start the new year.
Well, it's all about the Ravens this year and why a win today against the Miami Dolphins could mean more than just a single victory for this flock. You've got the answer just ahead. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning.
Welcome into your morning sports report. I'm Rocco DeSangro with the Big Ten's all-time leading passer, Talia Tungavailoa, opting out of Maryland's bowl game. The Terps took a two-quarterback approach into Saturday's tilt with Auburn. Billy Edwards Jr. would start and get the majority of the reps, with Cameron Edge getting a few series as well. Head coach Michael Loxley calling it a movie trailer for the 2024 season with what the team has. What kind of movie would it be, though? Tigers and Terps in Nashville for the Trans-Perfect Music City Bowl. First drive of the game, Edwards Jr. short pass to Roman Hemby, who roams through defenders to the Auburn 2 61-yard pickup. The next play, Edwards is going to go in from 2 yards out for the first score of the game. But don't blink, because Terps with the ball again and knocking. Edwards gets it done with his feet. This time he gets it done with his arm. To Preston Howard, Maryland up 14-0. Next possession, Cameron Edge in at quarterback. Beautiful deep ball here to Caden Prather, 57 yards to the Auburn 3. Next play, Edge connects with Dylan Wade. It's 21-0. Terps, most first quarter points Auburn has allowed in 9 years. Second quarter, Auburn gets on the board. Peyton Thorne hits Brandon Frazier with a 3-yard touchdown pass. Terps lead 24-7 at the half. Maryland not easing up in this. Let's take a look at the Maryland quarterbacks and how they matched up. Edwards saw the majority of the snaps. He was 6 of 20 for 126 passing yards, adding 50 on the ground. Edge 4 of 6, 72 total yards, with a touchdown, an interception, and one of the best, if not the best, throw of the game. The Ravens took the underdog role against the 49ers and ran with it and over the opposition. It resulted in a 33-19 win on Christmas night. Less than a week later, they'll host the Dolphins with so much more on the line. With a victory on Sunday, not only would the Ravens win the AFC North for the first time since 2019, but more importantly, they would lock up the 1 seed in the AFC and a first-round bye and home field advantage throughout. The Ravens are playoff bound regardless of the outcome, but taking the division and the top spot in the conference, that's something this team is striving to secure. Here's Lamar Jackson with more on how much motivation the Ravens are carrying into Sunday's game.
A lot of motivation, but I believe we was already motivated, you know. Like I always say, you know, we chasing right now. I believe we are locked in.
We were kind of talking about it in the defense meeting. We get a 2-for-1 special this week. If we get a win, we win the division and we win the conference, and it doesn't get much bigger than that. And I hope that we all have the mentality. We come in, and I know for a fact that we're all got everything in this game, and I know that next week obviously is a big game against Pittsburgh as well. And but we got to focus on the task at hand, and we don't win this week, then we still leave things up in the air. But I think it's a good thing. Everything that we want in front of us is in our hands.
Another week, another top 5 offense. The Ravens defense took care of the 49ers on Christmas night, totaling 5 interceptions in the win. Up next is the Dolphins in the number 1-0 in the league. While Jalen Waddle has been ruled out, Tua Tagovailoa leads the league in passing. Tyreek Hill leads the NFL in receiving, and Raheem Mostert has the most rushing touchdowns in football. While Miami presents its fair share of challenges on the offensive side of the ball, defensively, the Ravens do as well. Roquan Smith, he's ready for a battle on Sunday.
Really talented team, starting at the quarterback position. Well, starting with the head coaching position, I think he's actually like his personality, you know, from afar in a sense, but in the way he carries himself. But like starting with Tua, man, Tariq on the outside, running back, 3-1 motion, 28, a lot of speed out there. Tight ends play good ball as well. And I think they just all work well together. And it's like definitely a track team on grass. But you know, we wouldn't like it any other way. We prefer to go through the best to be the best. So we're looking forward to the matchup. I think it's going to be a great one.
Ahead of Sunday's game, the Ravens have placed corner Jalen Armour-Davis on injured reserve, signed wideout Laquan Treadwell to the active roster, and elevated defensive back Andrew Adams and linebacker Jeremiah Moon from the practice squad. Kickoff between the two teams is scheduled for 1 p.m. Undefeated at home, entering yesterday, Towson men's basketball hosting Arcadia in their final tune-up game before conference play really gets going. Solid crowd on hand for this one, and the Tigers put on a show. Charles Thompson and Tyler Tejada with a little give and go here. That's beautiful to a coach's eyes. Finishes with the slam. Towson up big here, off the steal. Showtime. Tamiwa Suleiman behind the back to Christian May. Back to Suleiman. Bucket, foul, fired up. Rightfully so later. Tejada off the trampoline. Don't jump with them. Tigers handle business and beat Arcadia 97-46. Here's Coach Scarry on the win.
I thought our guys were really unselfish today. Obviously, it's a game we should win, but I thought our guys, didn't take a lot of bad shots, and then I thought we started the second half the right way. We got a handful of stops right in a row, which ultimately I think will define, hopefully where we're trying to get to.
Loyola women's basketball on the road against Delaware State Greyhounds with a 3-point lead late. Kiara McElrath pulls up from 3 and ties this game at 64. 15 seconds to go. Loyola gets it inside to Lex Terrian, gets the off-balance shot to go. 2 of her game-high 27. Greyhounds up by 2. Last chance for Delaware State. 2 to tie, 3 to win. Denasia Wilson shot off the mark. Loyola wins a thriller, 66-64. Hartford County native Emmanuel Quickly is on the move in a reported trade between the Knicks and the Raptors. New York is sending Quickly, R.J. Barrett, and a 2024 second-round pick to Toronto in exchange for forward OG Anunoby. The former John Carroll standout Quickly is averaging 15 points and 2.5 assists this season. A big trade on the move in the NBA. Good for Quickly. That's your morning sports report. I'm Rocco DeSangro. Have a great Sunday.
A violent weekend in Baltimore ahead of the new year. The latest incidents, including an officer-involved shooting, as the city prepares to record fewer than 300 homicides this year.
I'm Wyatt Everhart. We've got a clear setup here in Maryland this morning. Just a few thin clouds. We'll talk about what you can expect for the first days of 2024.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Good morning to you. Looking live over Towson this morning on this final day of the year. It is Sunday, December 31st. Happy New Year to you. I'm Taylor Stewart. Let's talk about your forecast this morning. Meteorologist Wyatt Everhart with what's in store for revelers tonight and folks who are heading out to the game probably early this morning.
I mean, it's a great tailgate scenario, especially for December football. And I will say this, I almost wish it was a little bit colder today. Make it a little more uncomfortable for the guys from Miami. But anyway, take a look at the overall setup here. We can see basically just some thin clouds across the state. It's quiet across the northeast and really the entire East Coast for the most part. A little bit of cloud cover and shower activity up toward Detroit. That's it. Look at this beautiful sky this morning. I mean, that's fantastic. What a way to finish 2023. It's the last day of the year. Hard to believe. 45 right now in the city. Most spots closer to 40 degrees. Annapolis at 43, Easton at 37. I think we will find 50 later this afternoon. Not a bad looking day, really. But keep in mind that as we work into the late afternoon, temperatures drop off pretty quickly again, down into the 40s. So it will be a chilly night for all our New Year's Eve festivities out there. Have the overcoat ready. Otherwise, it looks good tonight. We'll talk about how New Year's Day and beyond shape up in just a few.
We begin this morning in a city in crisis and out of southwest Baltimore. An officer-involved shooting sends one man to the hospital. This happened around 9 a.m. yesterday on West Pratt Street. According to Commissioner Richard Worley, officers in the area saw a man naked walking in the street. As they approached him, he ran away, barricading himself inside of the back room of a nearby business. Police say as officers attempted to get inside, the man threw an unknown liquid at them. Officers then tried to gain entry again. This time, police say the man charged at them holding 2 knives. An officer was cut in the face. Commissioner Worley says that's when officers opened fire.
Officers immediately rendered aid to the individual. While he was still being taken into custody, he was still reaching for a weapon. But officers were able to render aid to him, put a tourniquet on his leg, probably saved his life. This was a very intense situation. Once you see the body-worn camera, you'll see how intense and you'll see how great of a job our officers did yet again.
Police say that 36-year-old suspect is still in the hospital. He is expected to be okay. This police-involved shooting comes during a violent 24-hour span for Baltimore City. On Friday, around 9, a 17-year-old was killed in a shooting near Reisterstown Road. A 20-year-old was also shot. His injuries are non-life-threatening. Around the same time on Friday night, a 39-year-old man was shot in southeast Baltimore. This happened right near Grundy Street. Police say that man was shot in the leg. He's also expected to be okay. But then over at Mondawmin Mall, a gunfight ended with the UPS delivery driver being shot. Police say a group of teenagers were in the parking lot fighting when they began shooting at each other. A stray bullet hit that 50-year-old driver in the ankle. Nobody else was hurt. As of this morning, though, 260 people have been killed in the city this year. 631 people have survived shootings. Actually, those numbers are down from last year, and for the first time in 9 years, Baltimore's on pace to see fewer than 300 homicides. During a prayer walk for the more than 250 victims killed, BPD Commissioner Richard Worley said the current homicide numbers are nothing to celebrate.
It's a nice accomplishment, but it's still, today it's 258 homicide victims, which is way too many for our city. We still had too many robberies, too many people getting shot. The biggest key I want to accomplish is get a lot of these guns off the street. The proliferation of guns in our city is crazy.
All right, law enforcement expert Tyrone Powers joins us now live. We want to talk about how we got here and the progress still ahead. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Let's first go back to those comments from Commissioner Worley, who said this isn't a milestone worth celebrating. We're ending the year here, fewer than 300 homicides. What would you call this? Momentum, a step forward? How would you classify where we are?
Well, it is a step forward. I mean, there's at least 50 less families who are missing loved ones during the end of this year. So that's a step forward. It could be attending more funerals. So that is a great thing. But again, there's much more work to be done. 250 homicides, 250 people losing their lives and families impacted by that is way too much. So it's not a time for celebration. It's a time for collaboration. All those agencies, all those individuals taking credit for being part of the reduction of crime need to come together and say what they did in a common room at a common table so we can codify that and do it even more aggressively moving forward. If it's the U.S. Attorney's Office, if it's the State's Attorney's Office, of course it involves Baltimore City. No one has been talking about for a while Baltimore City police officers taking a knee. Everyone agrees that they're engaging or re-engaging using different methods right now. So all of those entities coming together with community organizations, We Are Us, ROCA, other community organizations to sit down at one table and say, this is how we reduce it by 50%. this is how we can all come together to make sure that whatever method we are employing is collaborated with, so that we can get better in the year going forward, so we can reduce that even further, or reduce it. The goal is to have no murders, but to exactly reduce it. But it's not a time of celebration. I think it's a time for reflection.
Something we talk about often is the importance of activating local, state, federal partnerships. And we've seen from Commissioner Worley, as he said, those partnerships have been key to getting some of these numbers down. As you look ahead for the next year, we also have seen this year, an increase in juvenile crime amid this decrease in homicide numbers. So how does that stack up against where we are? And how do you think partnerships can be activated to mitigate this issue as well?
Yeah, first we got to get the egotism out. Everyone now is claiming that it is their office who did the work, whether it's the U.S. attorney. And the reality of the matter is, to be quite frank with you, Taylor, homicides are down 13% across the nation. It's the largest drop in homicides probably in the history of the nation from one year to the next. So it's happening everywhere. So rather than applauding and patting yourself on the back, the time now is for collaboration. Juvenile we've seen it with carjackings and car thefts have gone up. And we kind of understand that to an extent. Juveniles don't shy away from crime. When they hear that thefts or car thefts are happening, they join the fray. So you have to put in more deterrent mechanisms and consequences and repercussions to change their behavior, not necessarily to lock them up from others. But that's why all the groups have to come together in collaboration. Have a conversation instead of bragging about your individual success or the success of your office. That collaboration that you talked about, the state, local, federal collaboration with the community groups and organizations, which have been much more active this year in terms of trying to reduce crime, intercede, intervene, and redirect young people. That needs to come together right now. And I'm hoping that if people stop claiming credit. Harry S. Truman said, you'd be surprised what you can accomplish when nobody cares who get the credit. And bring people together, then maybe next year you and I are sitting here talking about less than 200 homicides and heading in that direction, no matter what else is happening across the nation. And maybe we have effectively addressed the juvenile justice issue because we sat down with the people from juvenile justice rather than playing the blame game.
Mm-hmm. And even though we talk about homicides in terms of data and statistics, these are families, these are people who have lost their lives in this last year. The goal here, I think, is that we get that number down to zero, but especially drop it as we see this next year. We'll reconvene on this conversation as the next legislative session gets underway for sure.
Thank you, and Happy New Year. And I'm glad that we're down. I'm glad that we've taken some business away from the undertakers. I hope we continue to do that.
All right. Dr. Tyrone Powers, thank you. We are less than 24 hours from the new year. Yes, the new year. Still ahead, the preparations underway this morning at the Inner Harbor.
And we look to climb into the upper 40s this afternoon, but will we see colder air for the first days of January? We'll answer that coming up.
Fox 45 News, winner of 16 2022 Regional Emmy Awards, more than all other Baltimore news stations combined.
All right, do you hear that? That's the clock ticking because the countdown is on. 2024 is already here and preparations are underway at the Inner Harbor just in time for that New Year's Eve celebration. The city is going out with a bang this year. Everything from a drone show to fireworks and live music. Officials say they've got it all. It's going to be an incredible night. And you want to make sure everyone stays safe during today's festivities. Baltimore police say there will be increased security measures. In a statement to Fox 45 News, police say, quote, the department has proactive deployments to cover the city, including increased foot patrol. The statement goes on to say deployments will be based on a variety of things, including threat assessments and crowd estimates. Get pumped to bring in the 2024 year in style with a workout that'll power you through midnight and well beyond. But don't let the New Year celebrations throw off your kids' sleep schedule. Put them in bed. No, we've got some simple things you can do to keep them in the spirit, too, that will have your whole family having fun and staying rested to bring in the new year. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning.
Social media reigns supreme, and 2024 likely won't be any different. Greg Hoplamazian is an associate professor of communication at Loyola University, Maryland, and he is joining us with some of the top trends of 2023. And then we should just go ahead and take a look at next year, 2024, and what that's going to bring. Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy New Year's Eve.
Happy New Year's Eve to you.
All right, so we're closing out 2023.
Yeah.
What was big in terms of social media, in terms of what we were doing on it, what we were looking at, and then just how we use the platform, because it changes all the time.
One of the big things I think, and it's been a moving trend recently, is just how important video is, and especially now when we say vertical video. They used to be kind of frowned upon in social media spheres, but with really TikTok having its moment, and it's not going away anytime soon.
Right.
But I think the movement towards so much of our social media content now being video content imperfect short form video content is now a norm. Large businesses can do that. It's not that everything has to be professionally produced and polished, but little snippets of content that are more quote unquote authentic is what people come to now expect, I think, with their social media experiences.
You can't not do that and have eyes on your pages if you want that. I mean, that's a must. Were there people or things or topics and trends that we saw on social media?
Yeah, one of the issues, and it's not overly new, but I think with TikTok being this newer platform, brings in younger people, I think the challenge, I've talked about it before, of trends or of dares that aren't really healthy and that can harm people. We've seen a lot more of that because the more platforms and more content, the more people are going to be trying to figure out how do I stand out and promote these risky things, participate in them. So I think we've seen a little bit too much of that, and that's hopefully something that we don't see.
I was going to say, I'm guessing that's one of the things we can leave behind in 2023.
Yeah, I think one of the things to leave behind is just as you see something going on online, you don't need to participate in it, especially if it's not a good idea, if it's a little bit dangerous. Those things are done for people's own clout, what we call social capital, feeling good about yourself. It's not done because it's good for you.
No,
so
let them do the dumb things and you keep it moving, keep scrolling. All right, so let's look ahead to 2024. What are you predicting? And I was talking to you in the commercial before we got started. Is X going to be around through 2024, you think?
Well, I think in some form. Certainly, I would think it's not going to die a quick death. I don't see it going away anytime soon. We would always refer to MySpace. It's still here, technically. We talk about that. But it's definitely got a brand perception challenge, much of which is self-inflicted. So I think it really is still steering its own ship, and whatever way that platform wants to steer itself is the way it's going to go. But I think moving forward, we really can't ignore, again, AI, not just as a topic, but we're going to be using it in ways we don't even notice. A lot of, whether it's simple autofill things, whether it's helping us create little bits of content, video or text, I think we will be using it in very small ways in the future. So that'll make it seem more acceptable, but we're really going to have to figure out what are the potential challenges and what do we need to regulate so that we protect ourselves from ourselves when it comes to AI.
I mean, you see it everywhere now. I mean, I see it creeping in so many different ways, some of the ways you mentioned, so I can only imagine it's going to get more in 2024. Well, we'll be ready for it, I guess.
I hope so.
Thank you so much. Happy New Year.
Oh man, I'm getting ready now for all the social media trends as I play auntie tonight for my New Year's Eve celebration. What are you doing, meteorologist White Everhart, and what can folks do tonight based on the weather?
Well, look, a lot of us will be getting out on the road, right, this afternoon and headed to our final New Year's Eve destinations. It looks clear, it looks dry, a little chilly tonight. You'll need the overcoats for all the partying, but other than that, we're looking good. Dry conditions up and down the Mid-Atlantic. Anyone going up to New York City for the real bash, it looks clear there as well. Beautiful start this morning. Look at those high, thin clouds mixed with some nice sunshine. Beautiful sunrise here over Baltimore. 42 degrees right now at BWI. Normal high this time of year is like 44, so we're definitely going to go above that today. This last day of the year will be above average. How about that? Temperatures across the board here around Baltimore hovering in the low 40s, a few spots still in the upper 30s like Woodlawn and Ellicott City. West breeze, not particularly much wind today. Overall, I think a great finish to 2023 weather-wise as we touch 50 or so late this afternoon. Getting clearer and colder tonight, so again, that's where you do need the overcoat as you head out to all the festivities. Football forecast. Hey, the tailgate already underway. We know that at M&T Bank Stadium. We'll eventually be in the upper 40s to around 50 toward halftime today with some sunshine. A good-looking weather day, but a little chilly, I think, for the Miami Dolphins. They're used to that tropical air, so hopefully it'll be just enough to take the edge off for them. Today we're talking about, an overall dry start that continues into early 2024. A little unsettled, possibly late weekend into the weekend, but in the meantime, it's some quiet weather ahead. Just a little chilly, but again, not unseasonably cold at all. We've got some colder air up in the upper Midwest and also low pressure area over the Great Lakes, spinning a little bit of snow into the Minneapolis and Chicago areas today. That same system will spin some clouds towards Maryland. As we go into the evening hours tonight, maybe even a little bit of shower activity out in western Maryland. I think mainly New Year's Day, what we're going to notice is just a cloudier day. Not as much sun for the first day of the year, but still an overall quiet weather day. Maybe a few snow showers out. If you're going out toward Deep Creek Lake or into West Virginia, you'll find a little bit of active weather there. I think for most of central Maryland, the air at the surface dry. We're just going to see the cloud cover primarily, maybe a few raindrops. That's it. Beyond that, though, as we look at the mid part of the week, we're going to be slowly beginning to drop in some colder air out of the upper Midwest. And so we'll start to feel that. Not so much the first couple days of the week, but late week as we drop into the mid-40s for highs. And you can see the overall setup here is quiet for the several days that start the new year. However, the chance for showers coming in next weekend, that looks like it could be a somewhat more significant weather maker. So we'll be tracking that carefully.
For the first time in nearly a decade, Baltimore could record fewer than 300 homicides this year. The next steps one local faith leader says the city needs to take. And the debate surrounding Mayor Scott's baby registry continues. Why some are raising ethical concerns. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. Continuing coverage this morning on Mayor Brandon Scott's baby registry. It's now private after it's been the source of some controversy for the last few days following an article from the Baltimore Brew. The mayor and his fiancee, Hannah Pugh, are asking for money, gift cards, and baby supplies from their friends and family, but they're allowing anyone to contribute. The mayor denies any wrongdoing and says he had the registry approved with the Board of Ethics. But members of the board are pushing back on that claim. The chair of the ethics board told Fox 45 News on Thursday the board has no record of receiving a gift solicitation waiver request for the mayor's registry. Fox 45 News contacted the mayor's office to see if the ethics board was in fact consulted again. The mayor's office insisted it had multiple discussions with the board. Meanwhile, experts tell us there's an easy answer to the ethical questions raised over the registry: disclosure of those who bought items from it.
The longer he waits, the more it's going to seem that he only changed his position out of pressure.
This could all be connected to favors in the future, and we may never know just the conversations that are going to happen after these gifts are received, after the cash is received, what these people get in return for these gifts.
The mayor's team says he will make all necessary disclosures. The city's ethics board, he says they will also take those disclosures in the next month. We have a mix of clouds and sunshines with temps in the low 50s. Meteorologist White Everhart lets us know what we can expect for your New Year's Eve plans. And we're taking you live to Las Vegas, the Inner Harbor, New York City, as many prepare to ring in that new year across the coast. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
A live look now over M&T Bank Stadium as the Ravens prepare to host the Miami Dolphins, hopefully send them on their way home. This is going to be a major showdown between the AFC's top teams. Thanks for being with us this Sunday, December 31st. I'm Taylor Stewart. It's New Year's Eve. We're literally done with the year. Let's get to your forecast. Crazy to say, the final forecast of the year. Meteorologist White Everhart, what are we working with?
Always nice to end the year on a bright note, right? And I think we will see some decent sun breaking through the clouds today. It's already a beautiful sunrise out there this morning. I mean, just a fantastic sky. Right now, we've got basically just a few fair weather clouds in the area. The nearest significant weather is well up into the Great Lakes toward Detroit and Chicago, so no concerns here. Great look at the stadium. We're going to have a great day weather-wise for the game. We're talking about upper 40s with some sun around and not much wind. So that's going to be great for Tucker and the gang out there. No wind, right? Always good for those long field goals. 43 right now in Annapolis, 45 in Baltimore City, 39 in Westminster. We're on our way to about 50 late today, but most of the day in the 40s. So hopefully that'll keep the Dolphins on the chilled side, right? Overall, the setup here into the evening will show temperatures falling pretty quickly down into the low 40s. So for all those festivities tonight, you can dress nice. There will be no precipitation, but you will need the coat. We'll talk more about the New Year forecast coming up.
This morning, the city in crisis for the first time in nearly a decade. Baltimore is set to record fewer than 300 homicides in a calendar year. As of this morning, 260 people have been killed this year. 631 people have survived a shooting. While many are championing this milestone, others say it's nothing to celebrate. We're taking a closer look at how we got here and why one faith leader says the next step should be getting guns off of streets in Baltimore City. A break in a deadly 9-year streak.
It's the beginning. There's so much more to do.
Baltimore City slated to see fewer than 300 homicides in a single year for the first time since 2014. An accomplishment Commissioner Worley says is not cause for celebration.
We still had too many robberies, and we still have too many homicides and too many people getting shot.
But to faith leader Bishop Angel Nunez, the drop does signal momentum.
Well, the mayor has done his due diligence and has tried, but I also see that Bates has done a phenomenal job. We cannot ignore that. Now, once he came into office, he decided and set the record straight, and criminals pay attention to that.
Baltimore City State Attorney Ivan Bates and U.S. Attorney for the District of Maryland, Eric Barron, launching a partnership with a more hardline approach to perpetrators of violent crime. And the proof is in the numbers.
I think it's just the partnerships of all the agencies.
At the end of last year, the city recorded 320 homicides. Worley attributes this year's more than 20% reduction in part to enhanced partnerships with local, state, and federal agencies. But
numbers don't say everything. Our youth are involved in so much violence.
Nunez says it's time to take community partnership a step further.
Partnership also consists of including the faith-based community. We're out there too every single day, talking to people and getting kids to turn over their guns and turn their hearts to God.
In a year when teen-on-teen crime spiked, with kids as young as 12 charged with gun possession, Baltimore City Police are staring down the barrel of their next challenge: getting guns out of young hands.
The biggest key I want to accomplish is get a lot of these guns off the street. The proliferation of guns in our city is crazy.
Prosecutors, police, and parents also sounding the alarm over the current juvenile justice laws on the books. The two laws at the center of this debate are the Juvenile Justice Reform Act and the Child Interrogation Protection Act. The first one limits children from under 13 from being charged with violent crimes. The second one stops law enforcement from speaking with any child until they've talked with an attorney. FOX45 News has heard from more than a dozen top prosecutors across Maryland who say the current laws leave their hands tied, allow young people to act without impunity of the consequences.
What we're realizing when we talk to young people is that young people, the juveniles, know there's nothing that we can do.
We can't charge them. I mean, essentially, if they are found to have committed the crime, the police just have to drive them home. I mean, that's really all we can do.
We can only hope that they'll not listen to just folks like me or my 23 colleagues across the state who are the chief prosecutors in our counties, but hopefully they'll listen to their citizens, because their citizens are saying the exact same thing. Enough's enough.
Police are sharing another perspective on the laws with FOX45 News, saying they impact their ability to do their everyday jobs.
Kids get out of the car, and the minute you stop them and you pull them aside, the first thing they say to you is, "Are you going to call my mother?" Because they know they're not. They know they're underage, and they know they can't get in trouble.
It would be like legislature raising the speed limit to 100 miles per hour on interstate highways and then questioning why we're not writing more speeding tickets on the interstate.
Parents are also demanding change at the state level. Some tell us they believe their kids can get away with just about anything.
But if we're just going to look at them and say, well, they're too young to know the wrong that they've done, that is not for Baltimore. That is not for Maryland, because kids in this city, in this states, are still committing crime.
And they're teenagers. They know what they're doing. They know right from wrong. They need to start locking these kids up. They need to change the laws.
The Department of Juvenile Services Secretary Vincent Schiraldi is at the center of some of these complaints surrounding the justice system. During a town hall this past month, residents spoke out about those problems involving DJS and Schiraldi's performance.
I think Schiraldi really came out short. He was very indirect, and in some ways he was very self-serving tonight. And really, this is about public safety. It's not about him personally. And I think there's a lot more accountability he needs to answer to. I think Schiraldi's got a lot of gaps in what his data presents.
When it comes to DJS, what do you think is going on with the secretary, and do you think that he understands the problem that is going on?
No, he doesn't, and he doesn't have to understand because it doesn't affect him directly. It's a paycheck to him. If you lived in a neighborhood that these things constantly affected you day in and day out, you'd want change and you'd want it now.
When it comes to hearing from DJS specifically, what do you want to hear from the secretary about what's going on?
His resignation. I'm sorry to be so blunt, but I just don't think he gets it.
Schiraldi believes young people should be kept out of the adult system until they're 25 because scientists have determined the human brain is not fully developed until that age. On a Harvard University panel, Schiraldi said parole and probation should be eliminated, arguing the systems don't deter people from crime and do not rehabilitate offenders.
One of the two things probation and parole are supposed to do is keep us safer. Parole made us less safer. Probation had no impact.
There needs to be some type of supervision for these people. I don't agree that all juveniles need to end up in a juvenile detention center, but again, some of them need to have some type of correctional supervision, aka probation, because again, it's important for them to understand that what they did was wrong.
If you feel your juvenile crime concerns are not being heard, reach out to your lawmakers. House Speaker Adrian Jones and Senate President Bill Ferguson are two of the most powerful voices in Annapolis. Their numbers and email addresses are right there on your screen. Power through those final moments of the year with the workout that'll keep your energy soaring well past midnight. That's just ahead.
Hey, maybe you're going to go out and take a final run for the year, right? It's got a good-looking forecast for you to do that today as we climb to near 50 degrees. We'll talk about when we might see some colder conditions and our next weather maker. That's coming up.
Finish up 2023 on a high note with a solid workout to bring your energy into the midnight hour and then beyond. I mean, we got to make make it to midnight first.
Yeah.
But then we got to get beyond that.
Yeah.
Teddy Savage is the national lead trainer at Planet Fitness. He is joining us. This is it. This is how we're closing out 2023.
Absolutely. And we're going to close it out on some fun fitness that you can do with a functional accessory found at any Planet Fitness location, and it's the kettlebell,
The
right?
kettlebell,
And
all
I
right.
couldn't just bring one for myself, so Patrice also has a kettlebell because I provide for my friends. All right. So what we're going to do first is a squat into a single arm press working lower and upper body. So let's put it in our right hand first.
Okay.
What we're going to do is lower ourselves down into our fullest range of motion in the squat and then press up above our heads.
Okay.
Switch to the opposite arm, Patrice.
Okay, got it.
This is one of my favorite exercises because we're working our lower body muscles and our upper body muscles at the same time.
There
That's
we go.
called a compound movement for 2023.
We got that.
Everything we did was all about being dynamic. At the end of the year, we want to close it out with a bang. So this next one is a lateral lunge into a press. So let's stand with our feet about hip width apart, our kettlebell at chest height. We'll step out to the right.
Okay.
And then we'll press that kettlebell out, arm's length. That's right. Opposite side press.
All right.
This one is working abductors or outer hip, adductors or inner thigh, and again, shoulders and chest because we're pressing.
All right,
How you
yours look
feel?
good. Mine didn't look so good. It's hard to do that one in heels.
You
I
know
feel
what?
off balance.
The fact that you're committed to doing it, even with the heels, means everything to me.
Woo! All right,
This
let's
next
go.
one is a sumo squat into a torso twist. So sumo squat, you get a nice wide base. So widen that base out. We want to trace the midline of our body. So we're going to sink down, tracing that midline. Come up. Grab it here now at your chest height, and now let's twist and rotate to the right. Good.
Oh,
Bring it back to
that felt
center.
good.
You like that one, right?
Yeah, that's a good stretch.
You know, when it relaxes and releases the lower spine, so your lower lumbar is activated through that twist. Up, last time, twist to the right. Ooh, that's what. Did you feel good on that one?
I do. I like
Yes,
it.
yes.
I like it.
So just like 2023 is closing, we're about to wrap this bad boy
Let's
up with
do
some
it.
press jacks. This one is really good to get the heart rate up. Your heart health should be #1 priority. Let's hold that kettlebell right here.
Okay.
Now, Patrice is going to press up and step out with her right foot as she presses, and then she's going to do the same thing with the opposite side. So she keeps that rhythm, and I'm going to press and jack those feet out and in, and we're trying to move together. But you know what? What this is doing is it's increasing blood flow from our heart to our body. It's raising our BPMs or beats per minute, and it's releasing endorphins in 2023 that just make you feel good. That just makes you feel great, right?
That's a great end to 2023.
That's right. And do it with a workout partner. Patrice is the best one. She's smiling. She got a whole outfit going in heels.
I'm not smiling like this when my husband and I are working out.
He's like, come on, let's go. Right. But hey, look, 2023 is all about being fit, having fun, finishing strong into 2024.
Into 2024. All right, but we had to get to this point first. So before the clock hits midnight, get some workouts in. Teddy,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you so much, Patrice. Happy New Year, everybody.
Preparations are in full swing as the year and the city begins. 2024 countdown just ahead. What time everything starts at the Inner Harbor. Celebrate the new year with the entire family without sacrificing your sleep and your sanity. Emma Offarth is the assistant director of the Child Care Center at Towson University, and she joins us with what we need to know to make sure our kids have a great New Year's Eve as well. Good morning.
Good morning.
The big question is, can the little ones stay up till midnight?
I would not. As we all know, the sleep schedule is the most important thing, and especially with the end of the holidays and return to school right around the corner, it's important to make sure that whatever sleep we lost, we start regaining, even on New Year's Eve.
Exactly. I mean, but they're also excited, right? What can parents do to allow them to take part in the celebration?
So there's a lot of things you can do. You can celebrate just the way you would, just push it up a few hours. The great thing about kids is they don't know what time it is. So you can make it midnight whenever you want. We usually do midnight around 8 p.m. at our house. There's so many free countdowns. Disney Plus has some with favorite characters, as well as YouTube has streamings of New Year's Eve celebrations around the world.
So cheat the countdown, and there are some tips to do so. Disney has a platform to do so. Is there any other way that kids can also feel like they're bringing in the new year without actually bringing in the new year after midnight?
We do sparkling cider. We make it fun. We get little sparklers and we run around outside. All the things that grown-ups would do. A big favorite in our family is to have like a special dinner, whether that's fondue, or my daughter's current favorite is she likes to do like snacks for dinner. She's very into cheese and crackers or mozzarella sticks. Something just out of the ordinary, making it feel a little special while still maintaining your schedule.
All right, sounds good. So don't do the midnight, just make it a little bit earlier, cheat the time code just a little bit, and enjoy it with the entire family.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Emma Offarth, with the Towson Child Care Center. Thank you. Well, whether you're bringing the kids or not, less than 24 hours from now, it will officially be 2024. We headed down to the Inner Harbor to see how folks are getting ready for the big night, and right now, you're looking at crews setting up the iconic fireworks displays. This year's fireworks will be unlike any other. Listen to this. Fireworks light up the sky when the clock hits midnight. At the same time, a special drone show will be happening simultaneously. The festivities begin tonight at 8 p.m. But boy, oh boy, the city is really going to be jumping throughout the day today. Let's get over to meteorologist Wyatt Everhart. We've got a game. We've got New Year's. I mean, it's just, what a time to be in Baltimore.
Hey, always a busy finish to the new year, but today is like special for a couple of reasons, right? And look, we've got great weather up and down the East Coast today. For travelers, you know, you're headed up to the big party in New York tonight. You look good. You're headed south toward Richmond, Norfolk. No problems there. A few snow showers along the Canadian border and up toward the Great Lakes. That's it. Here, mix of sun and clouds. That's what we'll continue to see through the course of the day. Beautiful shot this morning of the Baltimore sky. Fair weather clouds, no precipitation expected at all today or tonight locally, so we're looking good there. Temperatures across the board this morning running around 40 degrees, 42 to say 39 out in Ellicott City on a light west breeze. Slow warm up today, but I think ultimately we've got a shot to get to right around 50 late this afternoon, but most of the day we'll spend in the 40s. Keep in mind the average high temperature this time of year, just 44, so we'll be above average to finish out 2023. Hoping to see above average play on the football gridiron today at M&T Bank Stadium. Upper 40s to near 50 degrees for the game. Some sunshine, not much wind, so no issues with those long field goals. Miami Dolphins will be facing much colder than normal conditions versus their homestead there in Miami, so hopefully that's in our favor, right? Dry start to the day for 2024, a dry start to the year. Unsettled weather, possible late week, and especially I think next weekend, but for now, not much. We got one weather maker, low pressure area up here in the upper Midwest. Not going to have a significant impact to Maryland, though I think it will spin maybe a few snow showers into western Maryland tonight into early New Year's Day. For the Baltimore area, for the 95 corridor, for the Eastern Shore, I think just cloud cover rolling in from that disturbance through the day on Monday. So not as much sunshine for our first day of the new year, but also I think relatively dry for most of the state. I mean, a few raindrops on the windshield possible, but not much. Then we're going sunnier and drier into Tuesday and the midweek. You can see there is some colder air building across the country's northern section. Nothing crazy, but ultimately that colder air does edge its way into the mid-Atlantic after about Wednesday. So we'll look for a drop in temperatures late this coming week. Otherwise, it's a relatively dry start to the week, bright conditions, and there's that next weather maker due in, it looks like right now, for the first weekend of 2024.
Can't believe it's here. Well, let's get another look, maybe a final look at today's steals and deals.
The following segment is sponsored by Knocking.
I've been doing a lot of research on security cameras because you have to keep your home and your family safe, and there's always a sacrifice until I found the Ola Smart Security Camera. There is nothing else like this on the market. You want to know what sets it apart? The artificial intelligence, AI. You can talk to this camera, it understands you and answers you. I could say, "Hola, did Danielle come home last night?" It answers me and sends me a clip of her coming into the house. It can do that because it has body, face, and voice recognition. So you can program it to recognize your family members or friends who are constantly in and out of your house. It uses an app, so it's really easy to use. Another feature that we really like is the fall alert. If you have older parents and it's hard for them to maybe get into and out of your house, Ola will alert you if they fall. You can talk to them, you can send help, and tell me this, who isn't worried about porch pirates? There's also a package alert, so you know exactly when your packages were delivered. They really thought of everything. Ola was developed by ex-military officials, and every safety feature that you could think of in a smart camera, they really did it here. Right now, we're offering 30% off on the Ola Smart Security Camera. Head over to asadeals.com for this exclusive offer.